I'm a lot to handle, honestly. I am. And he handles me so well without disrespecting me, without making me feel less.
Welcome to another episode of More Than an Inmate's Girlfriend. I'm your host, Jay. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have an interesting episode that is a prison girlfriend who is in California, and she is here to talk to us about her relationship and her man, but also is going to elaborate and talk to us a little bit more about her advocacy work and a lot of the events that are currently going on in the country and how it's affecting California. Before I introduce you to her, I'm just going to give a little bit of background about how we met her. AJ found her on social media, and I remember she came to me and she was like, "This woman, I love her." She's like, "I follow her on social media and she's super cool. I love the way she speaks. I think we really need to interview her." And I was like, okay, cool. Looked her up. She seemed cool. And then AJ approached her, and there have been very few people that we've approached to interview, especially lately because there's been so much interest. But she was one of the ones that we actually messaged and asked if she would come on, because I think she's got some unique perspectives and she can teach us a lot about what's going on, but also her relationship with her man and how it's developed over the years. It's a really sweet story. So we'll get started. I'd like to introduce you to Penelope. Welcome, Penelope.
Thank you.
We're so excited to have you. So before we get into your relationship and everything that we're going to talk about today, the name Penelope, you've got a really unique story, I think. How did you come up with the name Penelope? Because it is not your real name. We're going to disclose that.
Yeah, it's not my real name. And my man actually came up with it. I told him about the podcast. I was like, I don't know if I should go by my initials or how should I go? He's like, go by Penelope. And I was like, who the heck is that? Why are you putting names on me? And he was like, no, look it up. I didn't know the story, so I Googled it. And Penelope is the faithful wife of Odysseus. I think that's how you say his name. I guess the wife waited patiently for his return for like 20 years while he was fighting at a Trojan War. And she denied a lot of guys, faithfully waited for her man. And I guess they had like a lot of challenges. So despite the challenges, and they just got married and had kids and stuff. So it's a really beautiful story. And I was like, oh my God, that is the sweetest shit ever.
I'm gonna cry. I did not know that was the story. That is so sweet.
Yeah.
Where did
like,
he
is there a
find
movie
that?
Yeah. Right. I'm like, and he thought about it pretty fast. So I don't know, maybe in the back of his mind, he was already comparing me to her.
Right? That's what I'm thinking, because that's so random. I've never heard that story before. It's so cute and so fitting.
Yes, exactly. And I was like, man, I hope there's a movie because I want to watch it like now.
Yeah, same. So your man, you met him outside. You were not met while incarcerated. Tell me about how you met him.
So we were around 14 years old when we met. At that time, it was on and off in a little relationship, and we had like a little thing, but it never really went anywhere because he was kind of a bad kid, a little bit of a bad kid. So he was kind of all over the place, and it didn't work out as like a little relationship, but we kept being friends.
Okay.
And about 2-3 years later, when he was 17, I found out that he got arrested. Him and his brother, I also knew his brother, out in the streets, and I heard it was something really serious. So I decided to look for their information, and they were in county jail, so I was able to go visit them. I think a few months later, we turned 18. So I was able to go visit them, and I visited both of the brothers for like a year and a half. And then they were in trial for like 2 years, and they got sentenced. And then the brother got out. The brother was able to get out, but he didn't and moved. And I kind of lost contact.
So they got charged together?
Yeah, for the same crime. But it's so crazy because it's an attempt murder, and there was a witness who lied. The brothers were not even together that night.
Wow.
So it's like a really stupid story that has so many things where it doesn't make sense.
The brother was able to get off?
Yeah, so the brother had a ankle monitor, so they were able to see where he was at. It was just like the most stupidest thing that nowadays they wouldn't have gone away with it. But back in the days, we didn't know much about all the laws and how to defend ourselves, especially being Mexican.
Yeah.
We're always scared of stuff.
And was it his first charge, or had he gotten in trouble before?
Yeah, he had gone to juvenile hall over like little stupid things, but that was his first something serious charge.
Wow. So go back for a little bit. So when you were 14, did you just meet like randomly through friends?
Oh, yeah, we actually met at a quinceañera, like a sweet 16.
Oh.
And he was drinking that day, and we made out the first day we met.
Oh my gosh.
I think that's what got each other. And it's so funny because I always had to take my little brothers everywhere. And that day, my brother was with me. He's like 5 years younger than me. And he's like, I had lost you for a minute. And he's like, and I look over the building, and you were over there just eating that boy. My God. It's a story that we never forget because it's like, oh my God, I made out with him the first day.
Yeah.
You know?
And then it didn't last long, kind of fizzled.
Yeah, I was in a relationship on and off, really toxic. So I was just kind of more addicted to him. And then this one didn't give me that much attention. He was just always kind of with his friends, doing like, gang-related stuff.
Okay.
And,
were you a good girl?
I was kind of a good girl. But I was good because my parents didn't let me go out. And if I did go out, my brothers had to be with me.
Yeah. Wow. So then he caught these charges. And he's basically over sentenced that it's equal to life, essentially, correct?
Yeah, he's 74 to life, yeah.
Okay. And do you remember when you found out that he got these charges?
I do remember. We have a lot of mutual friends as well, and we were all bummed out. Yeah, he was a kid in gangs and stuff, but he wasn't a bad to get that time. That's a lot of time.
Did you go to his trial?
I think I went to one, and then I just didn't. It lasted like 2 years. So
wow.
We were cool friends, but I was still young.
What made you want to reach out?
I don't remember. I was really cool with them when we would hang out. So I think it just hit me like, oh my God, I have to be there for them. And I've always been a person to be there for people in difficult situations. I try to be there. So
Did you always have a crush on him, or was it just a friendship?
We were cool. We were more friends than anything.
Okay.
I think we wanted to like each other, but we were just friends.
Yeah, fair. So then you were talking to him and he gets sentenced. Do you remember what it was like for him? Did he open up to you?
No, he was so reserved. He didn't talk about anything. He didn't talk about his feelings. He was always joking around. He was 17 years old. He would literally be a kid.
Yeah. Nick was telling me when he got sentenced, I'm like, what happened? And he was like, I think I smiled. He's like, I was given a life sentence and I like smiled. He's like, it just doesn't hit you. And he's like, you're so young and you're so caught up in bad stuff that it doesn't hit you. You're just too hard almost. That was his experience. So I was wondering if your man had the same.
Yeah, no, it sounds similar to that. I read his transcripts and the way he was answering when they were investigating him. It was answers as if he didn't care. Literally filed answers. Yeah.
Yeah, Nick was the same way. He didn't like tell anybody. I think to this day, he hasn't told anybody anything about what he got sentenced on. Yeah, he still remains silent. His term is, I don't need to tell the police how to do their job. That's how he is. He's like, no, it's none of their business what I know. They can figure it out on their own.
Yeah.
Me and his mom are like, we wish he was a rat, but he's not.
Girl, I say the same thing, man.
Yeah, because the rat got 5 years and Nick got a life sentence.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Man.
Why do they have such high standards and like morals?
Exactly.
Frustrating.
I tell him this all the time. Oh my God, why couldn't you just be like the rest, okay, and give in?
Right?
But they're good men, I think.
That's the thing, right? That's exactly what he says. I interviewed another person a couple weeks ago and she was telling me how her man took her charges so that she didn't have a record. And I was telling Nick about it and he was like, yeah, any guy in my unit would do the same thing for his woman. He's like, that's the difference between a rat and someone who's not. And he's like, you don't realize, but that's integrity. That's what a real man should do. I'm like, yeah, I know. So then how long were you guys in contact before it kind of faded after he got his sentence?
For sure, all through trial. You know what's crazy? His trial was in 2011 and I still have his letters. I kept them. I'm like, that's a sign because I've already had kids in separate relationships and I'm like, wow, I still have those cards. Very well hidden.
Wow. So you kept them throughout all your relationships.
And then we lost contact for a while. So maybe like in 2012, we like stopped talking. And then back in 2015 and 16, we started writing letters again. And that kind of faded away as well. That's when I met my second baby dad. And so I focused on this and he was just so reserved. I didn't want a relationship or anything, but he was just so reserved that I was like, no, he's not interested. And I mean, I wasn't interested either, but he was so short with his letters that I was like, okay, what the heck? You're kind of boring.
And you were always the one that reached out to him?
Yeah.
I imagine, because he wouldn't probably be able to reach out to you, especially with his letters.
Yeah.
So you wrote, and then he's kind of short, doesn't really answer. And then what was the last time like? Because then obviously something developed. Was he different later on?
Yeah. So I heard about a story on TikTok about somebody in Texas, and he was supposed to do a life sentence, and he got out after serving 13 years with like a bill that passed that helped juveniles after serving a certain amount of time or something like that. And I seen the video, and and it touched me. And the first person I thought of was him, because I have other mutual friends that are in prison that have around the same time. I know a friend from that age that he's LWAP, and so I have other people, but I thought about him and I was like, oh my God, I need to tell him. I didn't know how laws work or bills work at that time, and I just thought the Texas bill was going to help him. I was like, I need to get a hold of him. So I reached out to another mutual friend that I know knows his family, and I was like, hey, like, you know anything about him? He's like, yeah, they just got tablets here in California. He's like, I'll give you his information. And I was like, okay. So he gave me his information, and I sent him a message, and I was like, hey. And then I guess when he seen my name, he got a little like, okay. And he responded, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so happy to hear from you. And we just clicked so well. He's such a different man than the one that would message me back then, or like when we would write each other. He was so different. He was so caring, so engaging. It was just such a different man.
It's so interesting for you to talk about this story, because it's like he was so cold and very reserved and not open, and you just kept trying over the years. It sounds like it was like fate, and you were just waiting for him to mature so that you could start.
So yeah, I never thought about it like that. Wow, that is so crazy. Yes.
Because like, why would you be reaching out to someone who's cold and reserved?
Right.
And you kept having him in your mind.
Yeah. And it's so crazy because I feel like at this time too, I've changed a lot and matured and gone through a lot of things, that I'm a different person. So yeah, I believe in fate, and I believe that that is how it works. I don't know what people believe in, but it for sure works like that. Whenever you're ready and whenever God is ready is when it'll happen.
I agree.
It's not when we think.
Yeah. And Nick says the same thing. He's like, if you would have met me 5 years ago, he's like, even if you would have met me 3 years ago, he's like, I would have ruined it and you would have been gone and I would have lost you forever. He's like, so I'm so glad that you met me when you met me, because I was on this path of growth and redemption and whatever, right? So he feels the same way, and I feel the same way too, because I was on this huge path of growth and healing and whatever when I met him too. So it's super interesting how that happens and how different your man was this time.
No, very much. And now they have the tablets. He was just messaging me every day, and every day I was answering, and he would call me every day. We have free calls over here, so we clicked so well, so fast. And then he was like, you should come see me, because I was already approved to see him, because back in 2015 he had sent me the forms to go see him, but I never made it happen. So I was already approved, and he's like, you should come see me. So I was like, okay. So I went to go see him.
How was it?
Yeah, it was so funny, because I walk in, I'm so nervous, I'm about to faint. I'm like, what am I doing here? I need to leave. I was like, I can't breathe. My eyesight, I couldn't see anymore. I was about to faint, girl. I couldn't breathe in there. I was like, what am I doing? I need to leave. I shouldn't be here. And then he walks out with this freaking huge smile on his face, and I was like, I melted. Like, oh my God, he's the cutest thing ever. And then he walked to me and we hugged. We hugged like we had missed each other so much. And we had just talked for a month, but we hugged and we even like rocked to the side. It was such a beautiful hug.
Aww.
And then he just went for it. He just started like making out with me. So it's funny, because I'm like, why did you go for it? And how did you know I wasn't going to reject you? He's
That's
like,
hilarious.
I just knew you weren't.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, he's like, I knew you wanted it. Oh my God.
So were you guys official? Were you dating at this point? When did you lock it in?
We were not. That first time I went to visit him, right before I left, we were hugging, and he's like, do you want to be my girlfriend? Like, oh my God. I was like, yeah.
Melts my heart.
Yeah, it literally made me feel like I was in high school.
Yes.
Do you want to be my girlfriend? So nervous to say it. He just like said it so quick.
Aww.
So yeah, ever since then, we have not stopped talking. He's a few hours away from me, so it's a little hard to go. It's so expensive in California and stuff.
Yeah.
But I try to go once or twice a month whenever I can to go see him. Yeah.
So when you're evaluating your relationship with him versus your previous relationship, what do you find different? What do you find better?
I'm a lot to handle, honestly. I am. Even though I have changed and I'm not the same like little toxic person I was, I'm still a lot to handle. And he handles me so well without disrespecting me, without making me feel less. I don't know what it is with them. And I say them because I've heard of a few stories where their men are just so understanding. We get a lot of hate because people think they're not worth it.
Yeah.
What are you doing? They can't even support you. And I'm I'm like, at this point, I don't care about that. I'll support him at this point.
Yeah.
Not really, but
I know.
the way that he makes me feel so valued, so loved. A lot of the things that we think matter, for example, someone to support me, someone to baby me and buy us this, that, it doesn't even matter. And you're really getting the love that you've never felt. In my previous relationship, I had someone that had money, but it didn't mean anything to me. I was so unhappy.
It's almost like you see this idea of what you want, the man to take care of you and whatever, and then you get it and you realize that that's actually the opposite of what you actually want and what you actually need, and it's just what society tells you. So I totally get where you're coming from with that. So his family, did he tell his mom right away?
No, we told her almost a year later. So,
what?
Yeah, I knew his mom when I used to go see them when they were in county jail, and his mom used to think I liked the brother. I know. I remember one time they took me to go see them, and she was like, you should come here with my son. And she was talking about the brother, and I was just like, we're just friends, we're just friends. So basically, a year later, I was like, oh my God, your mom would be so excited. We feel like your mom really liked me and this and that. And he was like, well, you should call her. And it's so crazy because I remembered her phone number.
What?
From that many years ago. Yes.
Weird.
First, I was in a Starbucks line, and I remembered. And then I was like, is it this one? He's like, yeah. And I was like, oh, we were both like shook, like, what the hell? That is so weird. Yeah. So I called her and I was like, hey, it's Penelope. Do you remember me? And then she was like, oh my God, I do. How are you? And I could hear it in her voice because she really did like me back then. And since I went my own ways and had babies, I never contacted her again. And she was so happy to hear from me. And that made me more happy because nobody in my family agreed with this relationship. So for somebody to be happy for me, I was like, oh my God, I felt so welcomed.
Yeah. And then did you see her?
I have, yeah. She's always trying to go with me to visit. And I'm like, I want to take you, but I don't want to take you. Yeah. I want to see him by myself.
I know.
So yeah, we go to visit together sometimes.
Aww.
Yeah.
Nick and I were talking about our visits throughout the year and when I'm going to go. And then we were realizing that every visit that we could have, if we're going to be allowed to have the visit, is going to have some kind of family member in it. So we're like, we're not even going to get to be alone for a very long time. God. Is this a really good idea? We're like, maybe we should replan this. This doesn't make any sense. And then my mom's gonna go visit him, and she's so cute. She was like, oh, I'll leave like halfway through so that you guys have your alone time. I'm like, thank you, Ma.
Oh, like his mom does. She'll leave like an hour before.
Good. So that's nice. That's good. And then you said your family. When did you tell them?
So I'm really close to my mom, and I told her because throughout the years I would tell my brothers, my younger brother especially, he started going kind of like the wrong way in life, and I would always put my man now as an example, like, I have a friend that was here and there, and he did this, and now he's doing 80 years to life. I didn't remember it was 70, 40 years. So throughout the years, I would bring him up a lot. And so I told my mom, hey, do you remember, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, we're talking. And then she's like, wow, why are you wasting your time on that? It's going to go nowhere. And I'm like, I'm close to my mom, but she would really make me mad when she would say these things because I'm like, if only you knew the type of person he is.
Yeah.
And I have 3 brothers, so I would hear it all the time. And around that time, I had gotten my own apartment under my name, and the first time ever doing things on my own.
Okay.
And it was a time that I had started talking to him. So nobody was talking to me. Everybody was so against me, and I was just always so alone in the apartment with my kids. It was the happiest time of my life, enjoying him, but it was the saddest. I was crying all the time because nobody was with it. I have 2 best friends who I was like, I'm gonna share with them because I'm kind of chismosa. I like to talk and share stuff with people, not realizing not everybody's gonna be with me. So I was like, I have to tell my friends, and both of them actually have their baby dads incarcerated, but they're not together with them anymore. So I just thought maybe they were gonna understand, have like a little soft spot for that. No, they are, to this day, they are both against me. Yeah, to this day, they're both against me. They just think I'm wasting my time, and they only want money, and they just talk so bad about it. And I'm like, well, that's really not how it is. It's so sad.
It's so sad because they actually have experience. So you'd think that they would be a little bit more understanding or sympathetic, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I remember last year, I took my kids trick-or-treating with them, and and they both have now somebody else. So they were with their partner and I was by myself with my kids. And we're walking and my phone died. And I was like, can somebody take a 30-second video of this for me? Because their tablets only take 30-second videos.
Yeah.
And then my friend was like, a 30-second video? And I was like, yeah, it's because I'm going to send it. And they were like, no, come on, let's go. I got so mad and so sad because it was like, why does it matter to you? Like, I'm sorry, but your guys' people is worse than mine.
Yeah.
But I can't tell them that. I'm like, how does your man is any better than mine just because of the place that they're in?
Yeah. And the circumstance around it.
It's so sad.
It is.
Exactly.
Oh, that's so sad. That's so heartbreaking. Have you worked it out with your family now?
So my brothers went to go visit him with me
a
few months ago. So throughout this time, I think they just gave in, basically. They were like, all right, they already know me. Like, she's not going to stop talking to him. I think they just gave in. But sometimes they'll still say little comments here and there. I'm like, just stop. And they say, we know he's a good person, but we're looking out for you.
Yeah.
You're going to suffer. And he hasn't been with women for so many years. Don't you think he's going to come out wanting to be with more? And I understand where they're coming from, even though they say, we know he's a good man. And remember, one of my brothers actually knew him because he saw me making out with him when I met him. So
in hindsight, do you regret telling anyone?
I do. I feel like I should have kept it to myself more because I would have just been able to kind of enjoy it. Yeah, I wish I would have kept it to myself longer. Regardless, I'm alone dealing with it.
Yeah, exactly, right? A big thing that we talk about is it's really not their lives, right? So who's going to suffer if you were to end it? They're not going to suffer. So how do you deal with the negativity? Is your man aware of it?
Yeah, he is aware of it just because I would always cry about it, especially when I was alone all the time. I was always just so depressed. And he's always been so positive about it. Like, it's okay. They don't know me. They don't understand, but they will one day and I'm going to prove them wrong and everything will be all right. We'll keep trying. He would always say, we'll keep trying. He would like, hey, put them on the phone. And he will try to make up conversations.
What?
Other things. Yeah. Like, he knows one of my brothers is in stocks and he's like, hey, I want to learn stocks. What books do you recommend to me? And just trying to make them like him. It's freaking cutest thing ever.
See, that's the difference.
Yeah.
There's a great example of the difference between a man that has integrity and wants to try and is putting in the effort for a relationship versus a lot of the guys that are out here that don't put in any effort and they'll just find a woman who doesn't need that effort.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow. That's so sweet of him. So, you have some interesting news that happened recently?
Oh, yeah. So, I have a son and he's not too with it because my son's very overprotective. I always tell my son we're friends. But my son's not dumb anymore. My son knows what it is.
Yeah.
And 3 weekends ago, my son was like, yeah, I want to go. This would be his second time going. And I'm like, okay, yeah, let's go. That same week before we went, he was like, hey, my mom wants to give the kids some Christmas gifts. Can you meet her up? So I did. And we come home and then it was like 2 days later, we go and see him. And he was like, oh, your son has a gift that I got you. He's like, wait, you can't get it till after visit. And I was like, wow, okay. So I tell my son when we were leaving, I was like, hey, you're not going to take the gift that's supposed to be for me? He's like, no, it's for after visit. I'll give it to you when we get home. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. So we're at visit and they're just nervous and I'm like thinking nothing of it. And all of a sudden he's like, let's go cook this food in the back, the microwave. And we go and he gets on one knee.
Oh my gosh.
He gets on one knee and I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, what are you doing? And he's just shaking and he's like proposing and I'm like, oh, and I turned around to the table to look at my son like, are you okay with this? I'm like, why are you doing this in front of my son? And he's like, he's just over there with his little story. And it's so funny because my son was in it. Like, when we met at his mom, that's who helped with the ring. And so yeah, there was a whole ring and it was just the cutest thing ever.
And were you expecting it?
Heck no, especially because my son, he likes him, but he still protects his mom. Like, so I didn't think my son was with it.
Aww.
Yeah.
And obviously, what did you say?
And I said yes.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yes, thank you. You're actually the second person I tell, but nobody else. I have a friend who I met through this prison stuff. Her boyfriend's incarcerated. And I told her because she's the only one that would understand me, but nobody else knows. Not my mom, nobody. Not even his family.
Oh, really?
Well, his mom knows, like, about the ring, but she doesn't know that he already did it. Yeah, there you go.
Are you going to tell anyone?
No, I think that part I'm going to keep to myself for now, just because, I wish I can share it. I've never been married, so this was so beautiful to me. Like, God, I've been waiting for this all my life.
Yeah.
So it's such a beautiful thing, and it's just like, I can't share it with anybody. Nobody's going to be happy for me.
I know.
You know?
And out of curiosity, because
Yeah.
I'm going to get married here soon. Me too, I've never been married. Nick has never been married. And for me, there was a lot of emotions as it's coming up of just like, it's so different than how you imagined as a little girl and how you thought it
Yeah.
would be. Have you thought about that? Have you had any emotions around it?
Oh, for sure, for sure. Even when we left, he's like, you looked excited, but you look so sad. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm like, it's nothing against you. It's just like, man, I never thought it would be like this. And it's so cute because he says he's going to redo it. He's like, I know this is an engagement. I want to marry you, but take it as a promise that when I get out, we're going to get married the good way. And I'm like, okay, but it's still just bittersweet, you know, very bittersweet.
I know that feeling. That's why, I totally relate to that. And I remember going through the process and like when we were engaged and whatever. And it's like you've been waiting for the man and it just sucks that you have to sacrifice everything else to get the man. But I wouldn't change it for anything. It's just unfortunate.
Yeah.
So how do you guys stay strong in your relationship despite all the negativity that you have around you?
I think it's him. Honestly, it's him. He's so positive about everything and he's just so strong. I feel like there's times where I'm like giving up in a way and he tells me, you're so negative. And I'm like, I am because like I'm living out here, living through everything. I tell him like, I hate your positivity as much as I love it. I can't keep positive. This is crazy. Life is lifing right now. And I get in really bad moods. And he really helps with that. I think that's one of the things that I love about him the most, how much he just helps me through everything. You know, sometimes I want to punch him. Like, stop being so positive.
Yeah. Why are you so good? Yeah, I know.
Yeah, exactly.
So we talked a little bit about how you saw that Johnny story and that's why you reached out to him. And I know that you've gotten into more advocacy work since then. What made you start getting into advocacy? Was it him? Was it the Johnny story? What made you want to start doing that?
Yeah, it was definitely him because, like I said, when I seen the Johnny story, I knew nothing about any of that. I just heard he got out of prison after serving so many years. And so when I reached out to him, he told me actually about a bill that was going on at that time. He's like, and we're hoping it passes. It was AB 1310 at that time. And it was like gang and gun enhancement. So that's what kind of gave him his big sentence. So his sentence was 9 years, like for the crime, and then 25 to life for the gang and then the gun enhancement. That's another 25 to life. So that's how his sentence is so big. Yeah. And
so it's not actually the crime.
Yeah, it's not even the crime. It's the enhancements, gang and gun, that gave him so much time.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know.
Yeah. So he told me, you know, there's this bill. He's like, you should follow this page. It's called Initiate Justice. They're based in Los Angeles. He's like, and they talk a lot about bills. He's like, I think they're actually taking applicants so that they can teach about bills and stuff. And I was like, oh my God, I want to do that. I want to know how I can help with this bill. I was wanting to do it. And I am not the smartest person. I am far from that. So I was so scared. I'm like, I don't know what I'm getting myself into. I just know I want to help. And I'm going to help. So then I reached out to them and they let me join the group, the cohort that they had. And they taught me a lot. The bills, how they come up with them, how they get sent to the Senate and how they get approved and just all the steps that they go through. And at the same time, they invite us to the Capitol. Like, for example, we were pushing so hard for AB 1310 because there's so many cases like that here in California. And we were pushing so hard for it. I was like, I am going to go every single time to push, especially for this bill. And sadly, it didn't pass. We were so bummed. And I was like, no, there has to be more bills. There has to be other ways. And I kept researching different organizations and stuff. And then I ran across another organization called dream.org. My friend, she's the one that sent me the dream.org. She's like, I think we should join. By the way, I met her at Initiate Justice cohort. And we also clicked so well.
So you went by yourself?
From the area. Yeah, I joined it by myself. I think it was a 6-week or 12-week program.
And were you scared?
I was scared. I didn't understand nothing that they were saying. All these huge words. I was like, what? I'm like, I'm not going to be able to, you know? And to this day, like, I struggle with words. I don't know too much, but I understand more to follow along. Yeah, so then we joined Dream.org, graduated from them, and they also talk about just climate change and immigration and just how to get allies and help and open your own organization, how to help.
It's funny because after we spoke yesterday, when you mentioned the dream.org, I looked it up because I was very interested in what you were saying. And then they had this like Zoom meeting today. So then I registered for it and joined the meeting this afternoon. And then it started. And within 5 minutes, I was too scared and overwhelmed. So I left. So I was like, I don't know if I could do this.
Oh my God, no.
And then I was
Yes.
telling Nick, and he's like, go back in the meeting, get back in the meeting. I'm like, it's too late. I'm too scared. I'll go to the next one. But that's why I was asking if you were scared, because I just got like super overwhelmed because I'm like, I don't know any of this stuff. It's so new to me. You were talking about legislation and bills, and I'm just learning that too. So I'm following up with Nebraska laws and Nebraska bills that are trying to get passed and whatnot. And it is overwhelming. So how did you get over that hump of fear?
I think because of him.
Yeah.
I was so scared. My hands were sweating. It was also over Zoom. It wasn't like I was there in person. And I just did it. And I'm such a nervous person on social media. I can speak and talk and say everything.
Yeah.
But in person, I freeze. And I was like, I just have to do it. I really want to learn about this. I have to do it. Yeah. Not that I even want to learn about it. I just want to help him and help anybody else that are in his situation.
Yeah.
I think it's that.
And you found them really welcoming?
Yes, very welcoming. Because I joined other organizations and the vibe is not as welcoming. And I'm just like you know what? I do not fit in. I'm out. But these two, they were amazing.
Okay. And what were they called again, just for everyone to hear?
Initiate Justice and Dream.org.
What was your biggest accomplishment in this advocacy for him and for criminal justice?
I'm still trying to learn, still trying to find ways to keep learning, and I still show up to the Capitol and push for any bill that has to do with prison. It's not just anything that pertains to him. And we actually got a few passed in 2024, and I think that motivated me more. So he owed a lot of restitution. He owed 20-something thousand, right? But over these 15 years, he's paid about 10,000, which was the victim restitution, and then there's a different one. And there was a bill where it was going to eliminate the restitution fee for people that have been incarcerated for so long. And I was like, oh my God, that's for him, you know, even though I go for any bill now.
Yeah.
But it passed and it eliminated his restitution. And we were so happy. I was like, I'm making a change.
Yeah.
Probably not just my voice, but the fact that I was there at the Capitol and I go up and I'm like, I oppose or I'm pro this or stuff like that. It just felt like an accomplishment. And it felt so well to know that I was doing it for him.
Amazing. So just to clarify, when you say you go to the Capitol, you go and speak?
Yeah, senators and stuff that are sitting in the front. Some people do get to speak about their story. Other people talk about their husband and how they suffer and why they should do it. I really just go in and say, like, I oppose to this bill or I support.
Cool.
It's crazy because not a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
You would think that it would be a lot of us, and it's literally me and the other girl that I was talking about that does a lot of advocacy work, and it's just a few of us. So.
I thought a lot about this because I agree. There's really not a lot of people that are out there trying to actively fight to change laws, and I've talked to a few people who advocate on prison reform and criminal justice, and I really feel like it's a lot of people don't think they can make a difference, even though they really can. People just feel so defeated, for lack of a better word. So many people are incarcerated. They feel like they have no voice in it. They can't help anyone, when really it's because nobody's even trying, but there's value in numbers.
Exactly. I would always come back so sad because they would do protests. For example, this last year, we had a bill where it was to end slavery. They get paid cents.
Yes.
We wanted to end that. And I was pushing so hard I was posting about it and giving examples in different words to where people like me can understand, you know, because a lot of us don't understand the big words. A few of us were pushing so hard for it and these organizations, but we had no support and it didn't pass in California. And I was so shook, like, why didn't it pass?
Yeah.
There's so many of us. And it's just like, if more people knew and were willing to do something about it, we could make a change for sure.
Exactly. You gotta go out in the street, literally go into the neighborhoods where people care, where people have loved ones that are incarcerated. You gotta go to those neighborhoods and be like, hey, we need to do this as a team. Give people that education and the hope. Yeah. It must be pretty difficult, I can imagine. Because I haven't gone out yet. I haven't done it, but I do want to. So I'm interested in your experiences because you're new to it, you know? So were you advocating on other stuff before you started advocating on criminal justice and prison reform? Or was this your first advocating experience?
This was my first time.
Wow.
Yeah. First time learning about anything like politics or anything. I was going to say earlier and I forgot. Right now with all this immigration stuff going on, I took my mom to a protest. It was actually like a press conference and nobody showed up.
What?
It was just a few people, the organization that made it. And then my mom was like, I feel so sad. And I'm like, Mom, Mom, I know, right? I'm like, I'm so used to this because when I was doing the protests and all of this for prison, I'm like, you know how all of you guys would ignore me? I'm like, this is exactly how I felt every time when I would leave. Like, why is it so little of us out here pushing for these people? They're humans. Like, what? But it's my first time. And it's crazy because now with this immigration stuff, it's helped me. I've always been a person to try to want to help people, but I've never known how. You know, it's just little on me, like, I don't know how. And now that I know a little bit, it's like, man, no, I am going to learn. For like this immigration stuff for my people, imagine.
Wow, that's so cool. I'm so impressed. So with this whole immigration rights and protesting the mass deportations and everything that's going on, you're in California, and in California, it's crazy right now what's going on in there. But I also feel like the news doesn't cover it to the extent that it should across the country. And I really want to get your experience, your personal experience on what it's been like and the fears in your community and what's going on. What are the realities down there?
Yeah, no, it is definitely overwhelming. It is so scary. I myself am an immigrant, even though a lot of people don't know. I'm not scared to say it. I, more than anyone, am feeling this so bad because I am an immigrant, even though I've been here all my life. I got here when I was 2 years old, and I was able to get DACA, which is something that gives us a work permit, but we're not allowed to go to our country. We're not allowed to do anything else. We're not allowed to vote. We can only work, you know, and pay our taxes. And it's still so scary because it doesn't save us. Back in 2020 when Trump was president, that was one of the first things he wanted to take away was the DACA. And so this is so scary. I consider myself kind of tough. I'm a little person, but I feel like I'm not scared of much. And this has broken me so much. Not only the fear that it's like, oh my God, they're going to take me or they can, you know, but it's like seeing my people go through it and there's nothing I can do about it. And I don't have anything planned for me and my kids right now. Today, as a matter of fact, I went and got my kids' passport because we just have to be ready whenever something happens.
Like, it's so unstable right now.
Exactly. You just don't know what's going to happen. It is so scary. It's so unfair.
Yeah, it's overwhelming. It hasn't always been like this, obviously. In other administrations, it hasn't been this bad, correct?
Yeah, no, it has not. A lot of people say how Obama did a lot of deportation stuff, but he was legitimately taking a lot of people that were not doing things correct. I understand we're crossing illegally, but we're crossing not to come disturb anybody. I don't know if you, when TikTok was going to get banned, if you heard about Red Note, the app.
Yes.
Like everybody was going to Red Note and everybody was talking about, oh my God, China, they own their own house and they don't have to pay all these extra fees. And they were just like, we should go to China and stuff. But using that app was so scary because everything was in that language.
Yes.
Chinese writing.
Yes.
And you're just like, oh my God, this is scary. I don't know what I'm doing. People don't know that. That's what we get into. We're coming to a place where we don't know what it says anywhere, what we're signing. We just know how to work. That's all we want to do.
Yeah.
And it's so scary for us, yet nobody really notices that it's the same thing as when everybody wanted to go to China, you know? Nobody's going to do it. Everybody's scared to do that.
Yeah.
We have a little bit of guts to come over here just because we want to survive and have a better living. And nobody sees that side.
And be peaceful.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like everyone, every race makes mistakes and commits crimes. I feel like we try so hard not to do anything wrong because we know the consequences.
Oh, that's so scary. And you've been advocating for it a little bit and protesting. And have you seen more people in time come and join you?
With like this immigration stuff?
Yeah.
Just recently they posted a video of somebody burning the American flag in one of the protests. And that was so heated because I'm like, that is not who we are. Like, we love America.
Yeah.
We do not do that. But the problem is, it's all these younger kids. It's our kids going out to protest because we are too scared to do it. So they don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
They're young. They're going to do it the wrong way. But it's like, if my age people were out there doing it, we would be able to do it correctly. But it's like nobody wants to do it.
Yeah. If someone did want to help, let's say someone who doesn't have anybody who is directly affected by this or could be directly affected by it, what could someone do to help? Do you know anything that they could do?
Honestly, right now, there isn't much that anyone can do. But for example, for me, I went and printed out the red cards. I don't know if you've heard of them, but they are some little cards that say your rights pretty much. Like, I want to remain silent and I don't want to speak to you if you don't have a warrant with my name. I went to Staples and printed out some. It cost me like $30 and I printed out 500. And I already did it twice, and I've been going to Mexican stores and restaurants, and I'll drop them off. And people are scared. People don't even want to take them. It's crazy.
Oh.
You know, they don't know if I'm coming in a wrong way. And I'm like, I'm just going to leave them on the counter. If you know anybody or somebody comes in and sees them, take them, you know. And I'll just leave them there sometimes. People are spooked. They don't even want to take them. And I feel like that has helped a lot. And I post on my social media, and a lot of people have sent me messages like, hey, can we meet you? Can we get some cards? And I'm like, man, that's like the least I can do. And then I went on Instagram and I found like a bunch of organizations that support immigrants and stuff. And I just started sending everyone messages like, hey, my name is this and this and that. And if there's anything I can volunteer with, please let me know, and start following just California stuff so that I can know where these protests are going to be. For the weekend, I went to an impeachment protest that they were going to have in every capital of every state. And I was like, man, probably nobody's going to be there. You know, I just feel like Latinos are so alone right now. And I was like, I don't think anyone's going to be there. And I went, oh my God, girl, it was the most beautiful thing ever. It was full of all the different races. There was Canadian flags, American flags, Mexican. It was full of white people. And it felt so nice. I was like, oh my God, I got so emotional. I couldn't believe that there was so much people. Obviously, they were there. A lot of other reasons like the DEI and everything, you know, but a lot of different races had things that were like about Latinos and immigrants and how we're neighbors and we're humans. I was like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. Oh my God. I was like, we're not alone. Oh my God, we're not alone.
It gave you a little bit of hope.
Yes, very much. Yeah.
You've posted a lot on social media, and I think it's important to know also, and I've historically had some experience in different areas of politics, but something that you posted that I think is really important for people to hear and understand is that silence means something too. You know, when you're just letting it go, and even though you know it's bad, but you're not saying it, that's just as bad.
And I've never been into politics, like I said, but this is so personal. And I take it so personal when I don't see anybody speaking up at that protest. I did not know not one single person. And I know a lot of people in my area, you know, and I knew not one person. And I was like, why is people staying silent? Like, where are you guys? It means so much. And it's like that means I'm not going to remember who spoke. I'm going to remember who stayed silent.
Yeah.
I will forever.
And it's true. Yeah. It's really true.
Yeah.
So on that note, I think I appreciate you so much for kind of elaborating on that. I think there's a lot of people that don't understand and don't feel it. You know, if you don't know anybody who's being threatened or at risk right now of deportation, it's so important for people who are experiencing it to share their story, so that just like prison reform, it's just another kind of area where education is key, and learning about what's going on is so important.
Yeah, it started as, oh, we're going to deport all the criminal immigrants. Yeah. And now it's like, well, all of you guys are criminals because you guys crossed the border. And now it moved on to people incarcerated here in the United States are going to be moved to another country because it's going to be cheaper to incarcerate them over there. And it's like, people are not seeing that someone let us get taken over like that. You guys are next. Yeah. He's just moving on to other people because nobody's doing anything about it for one crew. Yeah. So let's move to the next one.
It's just the beginning unless people speak up. Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your experiences from your loved ones to your advocacy work. I really appreciate having you, and I really enjoyed your insights.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys for having me. And I think, man, after you guys have other people, if you guys want to have me again, I got more. I always got more.
Yes, for sure. Thank you again. And for everyone out there, I hope that you guys learned something, and I hope you enjoyed the episode, and we will see you next time. Take care. Bye.